Hi, everyone. Dallas Piana here from Coaching Scaling Secrets on another Wednesday Facebook Live. And today I wanted to talk about MVPs and why they are the best way to start with testing out your program. Okay, so let's first look at what is an MVP. An MVP stands for minimal viable product. Okay. Or other people know it as a beta product, okay? And you're saying, well, I don't have a product, I have a program. Well, remember, product represents all the different programs or services or actual live products, maybe you are selling a product, that are under the generic word called product. So your program is under the generic word product, okay? So it's a minimal viable product. Now, why do you want to start with that? Well, the reason why you want to start with that is you do not want to perfect your program yet because you want to test it out as you build it, okay? You want to use this time when you do a beta program or an MVP program to validate customers' needs and demands that you have the solution for prior to developing a more kind of fully developed, fully featured product or program or service, okay? So you start, which is interesting because most of us want something very tidy, ready to go, and like with the bow on top, that's perfect before you go to launch something. And you really do not want to do that, okay? You want to get to market quickly with your idea of what your program can move someone from A to B because you want to test it out. You want to validate it with people that are willing to test it with you, okay? So, what are some other benefits of this? Is that you can see right away what is working from your delivery and your material that you're putting out and what doesn't work, okay? Or what's too infantile, like they don't need this because they're more sophisticated audience, or what is lacking? What do you need to include? Okay, so that's what's so great about doing a beta program, an MVP program, okay? You can then improve your content and actually fill in where it's missing, what's missing, the gaps that are missing, you can fill in. You can actually fill it in as you're doing it, as you're presenting your program. And I'm talking about something like a live program that you're doing for, and I'll back up here. For instance, let me go back. Before I launched my MVP, I did one-on-one coaching, okay? And I knew my product or my methodology worked. My method of moving someone from A to B worked. The point was I wanted to now present it to one-to-many, me and many people taking the program all at once. So I went into a testing mode. So I flushed it out high level, and I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so that when I delivered it, I was delivering core topics, core solutions, and testing it out as we went. All right, so that I could see the learning, where they were with learning, where were they with marketing? Okay, so I was teaching to coaches, you guys, marketing. So many of you don't know any concepts of marketing. So I have to, bring it down to a level where you could understand it and then implement it. And that's what I'm good at. Okay, bring it down to a level that you're understanding it. So it's, I'm getting data, real-time feedback as I'm presenting the course, the program. And then I am filling the gaps as needed with feedback from the people that are taking the program, okay? So the other great thing is you can determine, is there enough time? So for instance, in my program, my MVP, I did it for 8 weeks. It was not long enough. So we stretched it out to 12 weeks. That was not long enough. We stretched it out to 6 months, and that seemed to be the sweet spot. 6 months, and they got the result, and then some. So 8 weeks was too short. Six months was better. So then I relaunched the next time I did this program, and I offered it for 6 months. Okay. So that's another benefit of doing an MVP or a beta program. The other thing you can see is how much interaction do you need with the people that you are coaching or delivering your program to. So for instance, for me, my program was set up where there was self-learning modules where they could go and go through the modules and then come once a week to a group setting where they could ask me questions about what they've learned or where they're stuck or where they, are, where they need help with or where they want direction with or whatever. So was once a week enough? Was twice a week better? Do I needed to actually have private conversations with them on the side? Were they using the Facebook group? Because I actually had a community, a Facebook group where people could ask questions. So you want to test all these things out. Okay, so that is what is beneficial when you do an MVP. Let's see. So if you're just hopping on here, say hi. Love to see who's here. Let me know if you're just getting started. Have you set up a MVP, a minimal viable program, or also known as a beta program? Have you set it up? You definitely want to start there. So I'm going to pull up my screen. I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you. Let me show you a little bit of the breakdown. Here it is. So this is out of one of my programs. So you want to set up an overview. Okay, you want to get your thoughts of how you're going to deliver your program out on paper, somehow out on paper. Okay, here is on just a regular document. You could set it up on a Trello board. You could do a mind map. You could set it up with, sticky posts, however works for you. All right, there is no right way, whatever works for you. So what's the name of your program or service or membership? What's the length? So what is it going to, how many weeks is it? How many months is it? Is it ongoing? So you want to start looking at that. Like I said, I started with 8 weeks, but ended up with a 6-month program. Description, what's a short description of your program? What are they going to learn? How are they going to get from A to B? And then you want to start outlining your sessions, okay? So if you are doing a hybrid, like you are setting up, you're going to teach live and then do some coaching as well. What is that going to look like? What are you going to be teaching week to week? Now, are you going to be teaching live? Are you going to actually have videotapes and have people watch video tapes and then come to a live session? Or is it a course where it's completely done via videotapes or audio tapes or both? Okay, and we'll get into what the features are later in a minute. Actually, let's just go there first. Let's go to the features. Okay, because I think that will help you kind of shape it. So what's the length of the program? Where are you going to deliver it? Are you delivering it in person? Okay, are you doing it on Zoom? Are you doing it through a membership site? Are you doing it through Facebook Live? Like, how are you delivering your program? Will there be a kickoff call with each student? Are you going to assess, put out an assessment, ask people to complete a form, an assessment of where they're at, and then get on the phone with them and have their kickoff call? Or are you going to bypass that? There is no wrong way or right way. Okay. Are you having a membership portal that's open 24/7 with videos, pre-recorded trainings? Or are you going to use Facebook and plop your videos into the guide section? So think about that. What resources, tools, deliverables you're going to include? Will you have scripts? Will you have templates? Will you have recipes, checklists, worksheets, menu plans, calendars? What extra resources will you provide to support someone in moving along the journey from A to B? Okay. Are you going to have weekly group coaching calls? Are you going to have private one-on-one coaching calls? Are you not going to have coaching calls? You know, how is it set up? Will you have question and answers? Will you have private Facebook group, like a community of support? Will you have customer service support? How will you deliver customer service? Are you going to do it through Messenger? Will you do it through email? Okay. Do you have accountability sessions, which I'm not into anymore? I feel like it's the blind leading the blind. So I'm really not into butting up with people, but other people like that. So I put it in here. Private coaching sessions. Are you offering that? Is there any other structure or feature that you want your program? Are you doing it as a retreat? Are you doing it as a mastermind? How are you doing it? What does it look like? Okay. So then let's come down and break open, you want an outline of what it's going to look like. So I've done modules here. Okay. And modules could be modules that you do several modules in a week. You could set it up weekly. You could set it up in sessions, however you want to. But then with each module, is there, what is the lesson? Okay. So you could also do it as a module, and under every module, there are many lessons. Okay, so you could group it that way as well. So you would have less modules, more lessons under each module. And each module on top is a theme or a topic that you're going to cover. Okay. Or you could break it down by weeks or months, however you want. Like, what do they need to do first before they go to the next step? All right. So that's what you want to be breaking out in a draft form for your MVP. And then I like to have a module on resources and one on bonuses. Okay. And I like using a Trello board because you can basically, on the top of the Trello board, you can set up lists, which is where the modules are. So the theme could go in each one of these lists. And then underneath the theme is what are the lessons they're going to learn under that theme or module. Okay, so I'm using all kinds of different words here, but use words that will help you to kind of mold your course, your program. What does it look like? Okay. And then I have a list of bonuses, and then I list out what are the bonuses. And then in Trello, you can write down what are the deliverables with that bonus. Okay. And we already talked about the features. So I think this really helps people kind of shape your program the first time, because then let's also talk about pricing. So let's say that originally you want your program to be $3,000 for 6 months. Okay. So what would you, as a beta or an MVP, minimal viable product, a testing product, you want to drop the price down so that you get enough people in to test it with you. And then you need to decide what is a good testing amount. How many people can you manage as in a test? Is it 12? Is it 10? Is it 8? Is it 4? Is it 20? Okay. And then what is the price point that will draw people in and raise their hand and say yes? Okay. So for instance, I did 2/3 less than what the actual price was. Okay. Because I wanted to get people in. You need to decide what is that going to be for you. All right. So you want to make it enticing that you do attract people. You definitely want to put a price tag on your testing program, because people will not do the work if they don't have any skin in the game. And skin in the game is dollars, moolah. That will be the only, and it's got to make it worth their while, right? That they actually want the end result and they're willing to test with you. They're willing to give feedback, testimonials. Many people know how this works. And there are people out there, that's what they do. They help test out your program. So you definitely remember, what are your goals for this program? What is your timeline? What is the content outline? What are your materials, course materials, program materials, and your deliverables? You definitely want, what is your beta price going to be, your MVP price going to be, and what's the actual price going to be? Because you can say the actual price will in your marketing will be this, but because I'm doing it, this will be the first time I'm launching it, it's this much off or this much savings. All right. You want feedback. Obviously, you want to evaluate the course with each week that goes by. Okay. So that you are creating a very strong framework so that when you put it out there and it is now is more tweaked to the consumer, to your clients, you're going to see great results. Okay. Doesn't mean that you don't go back and tweak it along the way. You will. I have for sure. But I'm telling you, when I first started out and I was doing one-to-one and I didn't know how to move into one-to-many, I was fortunate enough to stumble on two people at the time. One was a professor in a college who was teaching MVP and beta course, how to break it down, and another guy by Andrew Cozy, who also was talking about MVP. And I just gobbled it up and said, I'm jumping in. You just have to jump in and do it. You want to go to market quickly, fast, rapidly. Okay. You don't want to slow down, because in this learning process, you will figure it out, what works and what doesn't work. And you will then develop more confidence, more, aliveness, that you have a product that actually provides the outcome, and that just gives you enough energy and enough juice to go out there and market it a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, a sixth time, and run it pretty much year after year. Okay. So I hope this is helpful to you all, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.